Good afternoon. We are Gabby and Aisha, and our game is called The Ark.
Our goal was to create a key press controlled and narrative-centered game with obstacles. The premise of the game is that humans now reside in the Ark, a space station that is above the Earth, after the planet is devastated due to climate change. As a member of the Ark's agricultural department, the player's job is to collect seeds from various essential fruits and vegetables from a hostile Earth to bring back to the Ark to cultivate them. On their journey, they must avoid falling comets and other obstacles as they travel through various regions. This is the gameplay overview. Players must collect all seeds in order to pass the level, bump into a moving obstacle, and the player loses a life. If the user bumps into the obstacle 3 times, it's game over. And if the player is able to pass all levels in the game, they are able to return to the Ark.
To organize our game, we adopted the Model View Controller architecture, which is the MVC. The game class houses the state of our game, such as how many lives the player has left and how many seeds they have collected, which is their score, and what level they are on. The view class updates and displays the sprites, which are all the objects in the game, and the background. The map represents a region on Earth where the seeds reside. The controller class is where the user's input is translated into movement of the player on the screen. Ours is controlled by the arrow keys on a keyboard. And finally, we have the play class, the overarching class that ties the other classes together. It records all interactions that the player has with the sprites, whether that makes them lose a life or gets them closer to completing a level, and it also controls what happens when certain sprites interact.
We are now going to play one round of our game.
This round represents the first level of our game, in which the seeds to collect are carrots. The player can move in all directions to avoid the falling comets and collect the seeds. Some insights for our game include using Pygame, the MVC structure, and flexible thinking. Learning Pygame for this project was incredibly fun and a great learning experience. It was easy enough to understand, and the gaming possibilities through using it are endless.
In terms of building and implementing our code, the MVC structure was both easy and difficult to use. In the beginning, it was hard to visualize what methods and game components needed to go under which component of the MVC. However, with a little planning and organization of thoughts, this architecture's usefulness really came through and allowed us to neatly organize our code. We are very glad that we followed the MVC structure from the beginning to prevent a need for mass refactoring at the end.
Finally, a big thing we learned and practiced throughout this project was thinking creatively and flexibly. There were times when we had to pivot and restructure our gameplay so that our expectations were realistic, but also still interesting and a satisfying game experience. Given more time, we would do the following. We would expand the game by adding more levels of increasing difficulty, creating maps that have more going on visually and in terms of interaction, and attempt to animate the player and the icons for aesthetic.
Thank you for listening to our presentation.